for the lack of a better word, I got skin in the game. You understand what I mean? So
he do got the skin in the game.
So what I'm saying is, I've been to FAMU and saw what their support was like. I've been to Southern and saw what that support was like. I've never been to Jackson State, but I've seen a number of games at Jackson State on television where it's 60,000 pom-poms in unison trying to cheer them on to greatness, right? With that being the situation, guys, and the expectation that y'all are going the same place that Jackson State has been, the same place that FAMU has been. How can you guys have those expectations with the support that you guys have received in the recent past? Recent past. That's all I'm saying. The recent past.
Well, this is the first thing, right? We can't even have that conversation because y'all don't even understand the support we have had in the recent past, right? Because the narratives that y'all are carrying, and this is why I challenge even Mr. Campbell, right? Because he say he's a supporter, but like I said earlier, supporters don't hear your character being talked about and let that slide, right? Because people have allowed people to talk about Prairie View and their fan base for so long that you would even think this is how I feel, that you would even think that's a good question, right? Because it's not about this one game, right? Because the narrative and the talk has not been about like it's a one game situation. Because if it was more than that, then nobody be talking about it. Because guess what? And that's I know I text you. I know you get a chance to see it, right? Because if I ask you, is NCCU a championship program? You would say NCCU is a championship program. They've been fighting for championships these last few years. They fan base don't average more fans than us at home games. They don't, right? So what does that have to do with anything? UI Dub. If Southern go to Incarnate Word, ain't gonna be more than 2,000 people there, and Incarnate Word gonna beat Southern by 70.
You can get that word.
So first of all, fan bases don't even really have much to do like that with a championship program, because if it was like that, then Incarnate Word wouldn't be every year fighting in the FCS playoffs, winning Southland Conference.
You got to realize I was introduced to this space in 2005, Lionel. So not 2005, 2020, right? With Dion coming into this space. I've been following this space 5 years, right? And in my observation, the recent history, those teams who have won championships have had enormous fan bases and support. That's all I'm saying based on what I've seen. And I've been to the game at FAMU, and guess what? Guess who they were playing? Prairie View.
Oh, it was a lot at that game, man, and it was raining.
Yeah. But I'll even say this: the FAMU fans were still there. Prairie View fans probably left. You understand what I'm saying? No. I'm talking about after the break. After the break, I didn't see any Prairie View fans.
No, we were still there. We took all that pain.
This the thing, Mr. Miller. See, this the thing, right? The reality is, right? You come in, you can't disconnect yourself from the narrative that's also been spewed on you, right? That's a part of the reality too, because the narrative you've been hearing is 12. Let's be straight though. You've been hearing 12 for so long, just like I tell PB Nation, they've been hearing 12 for so long that they even start to believe something that ain't true, and it's a lie. Just like I tell Mr. Campbell, he upholding the lie for all these years and all this time. When people talk about even that 2021 game in Jackson, people never talk about PV showing up and what we brought numbers-wise, right? They just look at it because, Jackson 60,000. But again, why? Because that's the narrative that's out there, because people have allowed that narrative to be out there at the end of the day. Because you say PV has been there, but PV ain't had this support, but yet we've been in the championship 2 times out of the last 4 years. I don't hear the same conversation about Howard, who don't have nobody at games. But they wanted me at last time I checked, right? Yeah. Again, North Carolina Central, they don't have the fan support we have. They wanted me at, right? Nobody's saying this about any other HBCU, Rocky. Nobody's saying this about Morgan. The reason Morgan can't win is because they ain't got a quarterback, not because people ain't in the stands. Because Morgan ain't got people in the stands.
No. Okay, but Lana, you have to. I think you have to understand that the target or the scrutiny that Prairie View is under right now is largely because of the bold notion that you guys in your current condition can win a championship. Like that's
No. That's not Mr. Rocky. There was no proclamation in 2022, 2023 when the narrative started. What was the bold proclamation then? When the 12 started. You see what I'm saying? The narrative started before I came out with t-shirts. Let's be clear. So we got to tell the truth. The narrative started before I made proclamations.
But
right?
it was a footnote though in a long history that you guys had. I don't remember. Let's be honest. I don't remember people doing shows about 12 PV fans. They would make the comment, but there were no shows, there were no narratives, there were no big.
Where would the 12 come from then, Rocky? But where would the 12 even come from in the first place? If you say you heard comments, where would that even come from?
I mean, come on, Scotty. You know where it was.
Okay, of course, we all know where it come from. My point is, though, right? My point is the fact that you even hearing 12, meaning something got out there that, first of all, wasn't true in the first place. Because it wasn't even true when we was losing 80 games. There was still fan support even during that time. So that was, again, I keep saying, it's a false. The question don't even make no sense, because if it made sense, Rocky, you would have to ask the same question to all the MEAC fan base.
So let me tell you. Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I want to say one thing. You don't play in the MEAC, so I think the rules are different in the SWAC.
No, it don't matter. Why? Because if I build my program like a MEAC program, why does it matter what if I play in the SWAC? Why does it matter then?
Well, show me a fan base in the SWAC that is a perennial, consistent winning program that doesn't have fan support.
But again, see, this is why I keep saying your narrative is that doesn't have fan support. So you're saying that Prairie doesn't have fan support.
No. I said no. I said that I asked you, tell me a fan base that's a perennial champion winner in the SWAC that does not have fan support. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not talking about Prairie View. I'm not talking about Prairie View.
But my question is important, right? Because my question is, do you believe Prairie View has fan support or not? Because if you believe this, I know the answer. Because if you believe Prairie View has fan support, you wouldn't even ask the question, Rocky. That's my point.
I don't believe they have fan support to the level of Southern.
So why don't you believe they have fan support? What's the point? Why don't you believe they have fan support?
Because, let me tell you a quick story. This was last year. I went to the Prairie View homecoming. I'm talking about, I got there early, 11 o'clock. You know, the game didn't play till, I want to say, maybe around 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. Man, I had a great time at the tailgate. The tailgate was sensational, right? I'm sitting with people that I know, friends of mine. My good friend, him and his line brothers and these guys were line brothers from back in 1993, so they old cats now. And these same guys, I'm like, hey, let's make it up to the game. We bought tickets, but we not going. We gonna stay here and tailgate. I'm like, huh? Y'all not going to the game? No, we gonna stay here and just tailgate. And guess what? They weren't the only people that did that, bro. The tailgate was full and the stadium was empty if you went to homecoming.
So the stadium was empty.
No, okay. It was not full. It was
you got because listen, because the line's been full. You got to tell me exact facts. How many people was at the game? How many people was at the homecoming game?
I don't know what the attendance was, but they sold the game out.
It wasn't completely sold out, right? Because obviously it wasn't completely full. But again,
no.
Right?
But supposedly they bought all the. That's why I was expecting to sell out, because I thought they had sold the overwhelming majority of the tickets.
Listen, Rocky. The false narrative been going so long, like I say, you wouldn't even ask the question to Grambling. Grambling has, over the last few years, Grambling has averaged less at their home games than we have. But you would never ask Grambling a question, even though they have averaged less. So this is what I'm saying. The question don't make sense. The only reason the question makes sense is because you came into space and the narrative was pushed on you and you've accepted that narrative in your head. That's the reality. I mean, it's not, I understand, like I'm just telling you what the fact is.
And in 2021, when Prairie View was
so again, if you want to talk about that game, right? That was a horrible game. It was one game for sure. But I'm saying, again, if you're gonna take that and spread it across to say, okay, well, this game where we have a home attendance of 13,000 at this home game, but the stadium wasn't full. So my narrative and my statement on the game was nobody was at the game, or it was empty, because I talked to people who didn't go to the game. But that's not facts though. The facts was it's 13,000 people still at the game. The facts is when we have another game that even you'll say, oh, well, Jackson had 25. I don't care what Jackson had, right? We had 10,000. 10,000 ain't never been 12, right? I'm talking about facts, right? And no matter how much facts is pushed, everybody is still going to hold on to a false narrative, right? So that's why I say when people say support also means you correct people when they talking about the character of even your fan base, for example, right? Because we always have had a fan base and we've always had fans. There's never not been a fan base at Prairie View supporting Prairie View. Period.
Yeah.
So
some of that, excuse me, right? Some of that come on us too, because
for sure.
I've been to some games where when you look up the number on the box score, it would say it wasn't that many people there, and it was more people there than what the box score said.
And what they gave the NCAA. I've seen them give numbers to the NCAA that was less, and they end up changing the number later and saying it's a higher amount, right? That's why in the record books, it'll show a lower number, right? But then when you go look on Prairie View website, it actually shows a more accurate number. That's a higher number, right? So again, that's on the SID.
So let me ask you this final. Where do y'all rank in the SWAC? Because in the SWAC in attendance.
I don't know who ranking the SWAC. It probably is mid ground though, right? Again, this year, for example, we ranked in the top 30 in SWAC attendance. Back in 2017, we led the whole country in attendance in 2017, right? That's a few years ago, right? So again, the narrative that's talked about Prairie View is it's never been an accurate narrative.
So y'all have led the SWAC in attendance.
In 2017, we led the whole country in attendance in 2017. The whole country. That was a year when we had the stadium, right? We led the whole country in attendance in 2017, right? So at the end of the day, though, even after those years, the numbers that we've had has still been numbers that other schools would love the numbers of people that was going to Prairie View games to be at their games. That's the reality, right? That's the truth, right? Whether that's 8,000 or 10,000 or 9,000, the other teams would have loved those numbers, right? What you're saying is like, well, fam, you had 18 that year. Or well, Southern averaged 16 that year. That's fine. That's great for them, right? What that doesn't mean though is, right, it's like we can't walk and chew gum at the same time. That doesn't mean that Prairie View doesn't have support because you look at another school and they have 6,000, 7,000 more at their games. Those are not the same. Those are not the same things though.
So when we talk about it, and I'm just gonna say an isolated game. The isolated game was we take that off the map because it was a terrible game. It was cold that weekend. No one showed up to Mississippi Valley versus Prairie View in late November, the weekend before Thanksgiving. Nobody showed up. I get it. All right. Give me a situation where, because Prairie View has played big games. They've played big games this last couple of years, and a few of them have been at home. How did you guys fare when Southern came to Prairie View and played the game where they had to fight? How was that game attended? Did you go to that one?
Yeah, I mean, those games are always attended well, right? But again, I don't know what well means for you, because if it's not 15,000 sold out, you may look at it and say, oh, well, it didn't sell out like they didn't do 19 like the Southern game does in Baton Rouge, right? You have to explain to me what that means, right? Because if it does 10,000, then you look at say, okay, well, that's fan support, right? But again, I don't know because I'm not the one who created the narrative, right?
So you, in your mind, what you're saying here, it's a made-up narrative that's not rooted in facts.
We know it's made up because it's not even based on actual facts that's in front of people, right? It's not even based on that. Literal numbers that's actually in front of people. But again, it's not based on that. It's not even based on the fan support. Because again, if I go to a game and it's only 6,000 or 7,000 there, but they in the game and they cheering and they cheering the team on, I don't care if the game not sold out. I'm happy with the fan support that's there, that we cheering the team to a win. That's the number one thing that matters to me, right? Now, of course, I would love for it to be completely sold out every single game. And that's the goal. That's what we push to. That's what winning the championships is going to do, right? it's gonna bring in all the fans who for years been waiting for us to get over the hump. It's gonna bring all of them back, right? But I'm still not gonna act like the 7,000, the 8,000 who come to games on a regular basis ain't there. Like, why am I gonna do that? That makes no sense. I'm not gonna agree with the narratives that I hear other people put out there as if the people who come to Prairie View and supporting ain't actually coming to. I know multiple Prairie View people who go to every game away and home. Multiple people, right? So why am I gonna act like that ain't reality, right? Because other people are sharing a narrative that I myself know is not true. No, it don't make sense. So I would never agree with that.
I wish we had. Okay, let me see. Yeah, James Madison was number 1 in 2017, but Prairie View was ranked number 7. Okay,
I might have the year wrong. It may have been 2016. It's somewhere around that time, though.
Well. Again, y'all have y'all. I'm gonna ask you. This is your show. This is what has Prairie View had championship level support? I want Mick Dog and Lionel to answer that question.
Yes, I think. How can you not have? This is my question. How can you not have championship level support when we raised the amount of money we raised to put that stadium on the campus in the first place? See, again, people put false narratives out as if like, first of all, why would Texas A&M give us anything in the first place? Like that don't even make sense. The crazy notion that people got as if we don't know that all black schools out here fighting for their own in the first place, right? You know what I'm saying? So the amount of money we raised to even put that stadium on campus. Why are we even asking the question about support in the first place?
You do know Royce West hooked y'all up though.
Royce West hooked us up by helping us raise money through alumni who gave? What you mean?
No. I'm talking about funding for Prairie View.
Of course, because Royce West helps fund a lot of stuff at Prairie View. But listen, you can start, if you say that, this is the thing, right? You making that statement is almost disingenuous and discounting because you can go say that for every single school. You can go to FAMU and talk about they got a prominent person who does a lot for them. You can go talk to Southern, right?
Oh, yeah,
about
of course.
okay, so that type of statement is like discounting.
What I'm saying when you talk about Prairie View, that
doesn't take into effect of all the alum who gave during that time to also give money to build that though. It ain't like one person gave the money for this, Rocky.
So I don't think everybody's struggling at the same level on the HBCU level. Anyway, let's talk about it. I think Prairie View's situation is different than Jackson State's, FAMU's, Tennessee State's. Everybody has a struggle, but the struggles are different, right? Prairie View happens to benefit from every court filing in the state of Texas. $5 of that court filing goes to Prairie View.
And it should, Rocky, you know the reality is it's supposed to be more than that though, right? You know that, right?
No other school is getting
it. Don't matter, but I don't care what other schools are supposed to get. We still not even getting what we all supposed to get, right? So I don't care if we getting this and other school don't get that. That ain't my problem, right? Because we supposed to be getting more in the first place, right? Just like every other black school. All I'm saying is, Rocky, you can't come on here and like what you're doing right now is like discounting what all the other alum did by pointing to just one person. Because you're pointing to one person as if every school can't point to one or two people who prominent in their giving, right?
Bro, what I'm saying is all of the contributions matter, bro. All of them. Of
course.
Matter. The alumni contribution, the corporate sponsorship, the tax, the revenue that's raised by the state
and then
given to the school, all of it matters. I'm not trying to discount. Let me say this first off. Some of my best friends in the world are Prairie View graduates. They're also my most successful friends in the world happen to be Prairie View graduates. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think it's a stretch that my daughter chose to go to Prairie View based on the circle of people that are family and friends.
Yeah, your friends.
What they're doing in life. It wasn't by accident. Prairie View is. I'll even tell you this. Prairie View is a school that it has a competitive admission process. There are a lot of schools that don't have that same struggle. Mm-hmm. They can bring a football player in with a 2.0 and a test score. You have to get admitted into Prairie View.
Yeah, and a major that we don't have.
D-Live is hilarious. That's like saying I got a black friend. It's so funny.
Anyway, anyway.
Oh, y'all wilding now.
But
That's
so
wild.
80 Grimes asked a good question. C says, what do you deem championship level support? What does that mean to you?
In my opinion, you have to look at FAMU and you have to look at Jackson State from my point of view.
That's not answering the question though, right? You don't name me fan bases. Name me the thing that's championship level support. Name me the actual thing that's championship level support.
I think he means like filling the stands.
I mean, so one thing I admire about FAMU, when I went to the SWAC-MEAC Challenge last year, FAMU was in the building. You had to wonder if Norfolk was even there.
Okay, so you're just talking about the fan attendance, basically. That's what you mean by championship level support.
Yeah.
Simply fan attendance, nothing else.
Because in my view, related to football, fan attendance, fandom, it affects what happens on the field. That's how I view it.
I
may be wrong. I may be wrong in that, but I think rabid fan support gives your team that energy in those crucial moments. When they walk in that stadium, and it's even when it's on the road, and they can look around and see all those people that came from Prairie View or Texas or wherever they came from to support us, I believe that means something to players.
Yeah,
I believe it also has an adverse effect if you go somewhere and you realize none of your fans came to support you. Did they believe that we could win? I think all of that matters, Lionel. And so when I talk about championship level, put it like this here. This is what I know about about these three fan bases: Southern, Jackson State, and FAMU. They can play a game for the championship on the moon. They gonna figure out how to get there.
Well,
they gonna figure out how to get there.
Now the point to that, Rocky, too, is pre-Deion, Jackson State wasn't winning, and they still had fans. So,
I mean, last time I checked, though, right? I've seen that championship game in Florida at FAMU in Tallahassee. It wasn't filled to the brim, so I don't know if it's on the moon that they find a way to get there if the weather didn't have them pack that stadium out for the championship game that time, right? So I have to push back a little bit on the moon thing because that wasn't filled to the brim last time I checked, like another regular FAMU game.
It was sold out where I had to get tickets from somebody who had.
When you was at the game looking up in the stands, was it sold out? Just like you, because you told me. See, this what I'm saying. You told me Prairie View game was sold out. See, that's the time y'all talking out the same side of y'all neck, right? The Prairie View game was sold out, but you walked in and saw it wasn't sold out. So was the FAMU game sold out the same way?
It was partly cloudy, sunny outside.
Okay, I don't care. I don't care because you just told me that they on the moon they're gonna find a way. So when you went to the FAMU game that was sold out, was it packed to the brim? Yes or no? No is the answer to the question, right?
No,
so
I
you can't sell me that. You can't sell me that on the moon they're gonna be there.
Lionel. It was a
you can't sell me,
bro.
You can't sell me. Also, Southern. Listen, Southern last year at the championship game in Jackson, they ain't attend that game last year. They wasn't there like they was at the game 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? So again, you also can't sell me that, right? You can't sell me that. Do
you think they thought they had a chance to win that game?
Listen, Mr. Rocky, Mr. Miller, you just told me if the game is on the moon, they're gonna find a way to be there. You didn't say they're gonna find a way to be there if they find a way to win. So listen. Now I'm telling y'all, and this is why I say we only can believe half of the stuff y'all be saying because when it comes to PV, y'all are gonna be very clear about it. But I just gave you 2 examples where I showed you that them fan bases didn't show up. You got so much admiration for them, though. You got so much admiration. You're not calling out. You're not saying the actual truth.
Y'all had a chance to play Jackson. Prairie View had a chance to play Jackson for the SWAC championship. How was it attended?
And we came and we showed up. That's why I've been saying that all the time. In 2021, we showed up, but nobody talks about that either. But all I'm saying is y'all don't keep it equal. Y'all really don't keep it equal when y'all have these conversations because your admiration for FAMU and Southern just had you not tell the truth about them 2 games, even though you're telling us that they'll go to the moon. How they gonna go to the moon? They can't go to the game on campus.
Because I've seen their fan base at the homecoming fill that stadium up when they played Alcorn last year.
Okay, that's cool, but I ain't seen them at the championship game that you said they go to the moon for. That's all I'm saying. They ain't pack it like that. They ain't pack it like that though. So all I'm saying is be the same way when you see that and say, you know what, it ain't really every game, right? It's only if they believe they can win. If you'd have said that, I would agree with you. But they didn't show up that time. FAMU also didn't show up in Field Lake Stadium when we played them in the championship game. That's the reality, Mr. Rocky. That's the truth of the situation. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That is the truth. Just like how I tell y'all numbers and y'all still say 12. That's the truth.
You mention the extenuating circumstances to that
I
game.
don't no, because you told me at the moon they would go. How you want me to mention extenuating circumstances? You just told me they go to the moon.
They were there, but it probably was unsafe for them to be in the stadium.
You told me they go to the moon, Mr. Now hold on. Now, Mr. Rocky. Hold on. Now I'm gonna ask this. Hold on. Now you a Big 12 guy. You a Big 12 person, right? You a Big 12 guy, right?
Yeah.
You a Big 12 guy. Now tell me, you telling me that them white people not gonna show up to a Big 12 game and pack it out if it was their game? Tell me yes or no. They're not gonna pack it out.
Come on, yeah.
Okay, so listen. So then, it's the thing, right? I don't want to hear nothing about you saying what the circumstance was and all this stuff. I don't want got nothing to do with that. They ain't show up. Just say the truth of what happened. They ain't show up. They ain't show up for the game. Because I was there in Birmingham in the championship 2009 when it was raining. I was there. I was there in the rain.
It was a lightning storm. And
it lightened the first game. The first game of Prairie View that we played against Texas Southern at our stadium was a lightning delay. I had to go down many times before we came back out and finished that game. What difference does it make? So no, I don't want hold them. Your admiration on you can't have that admiration of them on people versus everybody. You gotta take the admiration away and be honest about the situation. Ain't no FAMU admiration today. Okay.
So
tell the truth.
At what point in and again, my frame of reference is the last 5 years. My point, at any point, has Prairie View outdrew any of the championship teams?
No. We haven't outdrew any of the championship teams, right? But again, like I keep saying, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. What that doesn't mean, Rocky, is that Prairie View doesn't have support. And I'm gonna keep saying that until I'm blue in the face. Because that ain't the same thing, Mr. Rocky, right? That don't mean Prairie View don't got support. Now, if you up here saying Prairie View doesn't have fan support like X school, like Y school, like Z school, different conversation, right? But that's not what y'all saying. Y'all are saying Prairie View doesn't have fan support. It's a completely different conversation. And y'all acting like y'all don't understand English. It's not the same thing.
I just wanted you to understand my comment. My comment is rooted in the championship teams that I see as championship level teams. And I'm only talking about two schools here for this conversation. The two schools that have won championships have rabid, dedicated fan support for the games. Now,
the Southern have fan support. The Southern have fan support.
Yes.
When the last time they won a championship?
I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's been a while, right? So listen, man. But I
don't think they lack. I don't think they lack the fan base to win a championship. I don't think the fan base is one of the draw. I don't think the fan base is going to prohibit them from taking their program from where it is now to a championship level. And my question is, I have that concern as it relates to Prairie View, and you have the right to defend.
You don't have to have that concern. You don't have to have that concern. Let me actually say it more correctly, right? To be honest, we really don't even care what you think at all, right? That's the reality, right? Because you really not Prairie View. Your daughter Prairie View, but you not Prairie View, right? You got friends in Prairie View. So I could actually care less whether we got 5 people there, 10 people there, we still gonna win the championship. I don't care about that, right? But I'm just pushing back because the question itself already showed your hand. It already showed that you think Prairie View ain't got no fan base. But that's already a fallacy in the first place. So that's what I'm pushing back on.
Why would you say I think they don't have a fan base when
you don't ask the question?
I asked championship level support. I didn't say they don't have a fan base. Did I say that? If I said that, I apologize. But I don't believe I said Prairie View doesn't have a fan base.
Okay, well, maybe I have to be corrected on that. We're gonna have to watch the video back again. But maybe I'll correct it on it, right? But what I've heard, right? But all I'm saying is with the 12 narrative, right? The fans I've never said that. Or with the statement of you don't have fans that support all these other things. Because I'm saying those things aren't accurate, right? The level of support, you can argue level of support, I have no problem with arguing level of support. But to
Yeah,
talk
level.
about empty or to talk about nobody there or to talk
Can you
about
just-
no support,
Can you
is
just
incorrect.
replay the
Yeah,
video?
I'll play it.
Replay it so we
Cue it up.
can-
Cue it up. Yeah,
I got
cue
it.
up.
Hold on.
He's a dog, coach. He's a dog, and he gonna have them kids playing.
This is what I question about Prairie View, and you guys can answer this question. Can you be a championship program with a fan base like Prairie View? It doesn't seem like you can when you're going up against fan bases like Southern and Grambling and Jackson State and FAMU. Can you be a championship program with a fan base like Prairie View?
If you
I don't know how you feel about that.
And you don't think that's a fair question?
No,
because you thought I was talking about the 12 fans. That's what you thought I was talking about.
So what are you talking about when you say a fan base like Prairie View? I don't know what that means then.
So what I meant by fan base like Prairie View is when you have a football game and the parking lot is completely filled with people, and then you want to go in and watch the game with your friends, the people that you've been eating fried chicken with and chicken wings and catfish and dirty rice and whatever. And you say, hey, let's go watch the game. And they say, nah, we're gonna chill out here, man. We really like hanging out in the tailgate when we're at homecoming.
So you're saying because instead of having 15,000 in the stadium, we had 13,000 in the stadium. That 2,000 is that big of a difference to you to say? Because I'm talking about facts right now, right? The facts is it still is 13,000 plus.
It's mentality, Lionel.
But I'm asking specific questions because you're talking about the numbers. You're talking about the attendance. Again, so first of all, right, are you saying that because that 2,000 difference is there, that's because I don't understand y'all. This is a side note, right? Y'all talk about mentality, but then all y'all got a problem with me making my shirts and saying we're gonna win championship. Y'all can't have it both ways. Okay, all right, you ain't got a problem.
I read the power of positive. I've read the power of positive thinking, and I think it's a very powerful thing. Positive thinking is a very powerful thing.
There we go.
But at the same time, you have to be willing to look for people to look at you like you're crazy. You have to be willing to accept that, and you can't be offended every time somebody say, "Are you crazy, Lionel?"
Hey, listen, you know I ain't got no problem. I'm out here. All right, year two. You feel me? But see. So we good. Then. We good on that, right?
I had a question, Lionel. I had a question.
Go ahead.
Because Rocky did say Grambling had a championship level fan base, so I'm trying to see what games were championship level.
Where you get that from?
So okay, now this is based on bias because our next door neighbors for many years were Gramblingites, and they were and they would drive back faithfully to go see their team play. Go to functions. Now, recently they haven't been back in recent history because of they're unhappy with the level that their team is.
Oh, so they're not going to the moon. They're not going to the moon over in Grambling then. Okay, so Grambling don't go to the moon. Okay.
That's why I left them out of it. But historically, can you talk about like other games that I went to the State Fair Classic this past year. It was more Grambling fans than Prairie View fans.
That ain't never been true ever in Dallas. They ain't never been true.
Okay. It was more Grambling fans dressed up in Grambling gear than Prairie View fans dressed up in Prairie View.
Back line. No. That he might.
I'm telling you, I was at the game.
We run. And for one thing I know is that we run Dallas. That's one thing I know.
A lot of Prairie View people go to the shade when we're not the home team. So it may have looked like that because, people and Joe Kelly in the chat, people like me and Joe Kelly will go under the overhang and be on the Grambling side when we're
okay.
When we're not the home team. So it may have looked like that last year.
Yeah, that's what it. Okay, well maybe again. I'm over in the Jack Daniels suite.
Thank you, Edwin.
Looking over the shaded side, I guess. At the Prairie View side, the Grambling side looked fully packed, packed all the way around. The Prairie View side had sparse, people. Again, that's what I'm looking at.
I don't. Well, I guess.
And I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at what they wearing, what they have on. again, and who was in that suite area? It was a ton of Grambling people in that suite area. I didn't see. There was some Prairie View people, but it's a ton of Grambling people.
Yeah, we weren't the home team last year. That's why.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's fine. But I mean, I already know we run Dallas, so I'm not really worried about that.
No. Again, again, man, I didn't do it. I didn't say it because I was hating, bro. I'm just
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Observation based on my observation of the fan bases, and like I say, when Prairie View had that chance to, maybe I was totally thrown off by that. When Prairie View had a chance to play for the championship and only 700 some fans show up.
Listen, I agree with you. That I completely agree with you. Right? You know what I'm saying? So there's no argument. That's why there's no argument there for me, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That I agree with you, right? But I'm talking about the wholesale discussion of a fan base as if there's no fan base. Like that never makes sense to me, right? Because you got to have that same argument about all these other programs then. So since you're not, that let me know it's just a bias thing, right?
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know how you feel about it, whatever, but NCCU, they have a very successful program, right? In the past, in recent history, right?
For sure.
Probably over the last 6 years, other than Jackson State, they probably the best program in HBCU football. That's arguably. You know, you could throw FAMU in there, but FAMU.
Yeah, okay.
You know
I mean, there's an argument for sure.
Yeah. I'm just saying. But reason why I bring up North Carolina State, because you brought them, North Carolina Central, is because you mentioned their attendance and the success that they've had. So I'll ask you, why do you think they're so successful despite having a lack of attendance and support for their schools?
One word. Well, one word. Coaching. It's simple. It's pretty simple, right? Prairie View, the last time we had an actual coach with actual experience was the last time we won a championship, right? The last 4 coaches we've had, right? And again, shouts out to all the coaches, and not like, I appreciate everybody who's always come through. So first of all, shout out, right? But that's the reality, right? We have a coach now who has experience. The last time we had a coach with experience, we won a championship in 2009, right? We was right there in 2008. We was right there in 2010. So we now have that level of coaching. And now that's an argument that we can have that's even stronger than the fan base argument. It's the who controlling who gonna get this job argument, right? That's way more important than even how many people sitting outside. Because those decisions could hold your winning back for years, which also affects your fan base, right? You know what I'm saying? Even I hear Perry them talking about it the other day, right? Like, even listen, no fan base is immune to being affected. Like you talk about Grambling and people from Grambling. No fan base is immune to you not winning and not showing success that is going to affect you, right? So that's the biggest thing that's held Prairie View back. It ain't. And listen, like I say, I get it, and I'm always pushing for us to have more people, right? So I understand that. I always say we can do better. But listen, if we win, I ain't even got to argue about us doing better, right? You know what I'm saying? So get me the right guy on the sideline. That's going to help tremendously. So now we're in a position just like NCCU to actually get the job done. Same thing with North Carolina A&T, because for many years they were down too. They hit Broadway right. They had Sam right after that. They hit on them on the right coaches. And to me, college football is all about coaching. Because when you talk about programs, you're really talking about coaches. When you talk about the great Southern years before, you're really talking about Pete Richardson, right? You know what I'm saying? When you talk about FAM, you're talking about the great coaches they had. Even when you talk about SEC, you start thinking about Saban, and you see what I'm saying? Like, you talking about coaches when you're talking college football. So if you get the right coach in your college program, it changes tremendously, right? And I think finally we've made a decision that we have not set back, which also, listen, we've had many ADs throughout the years. That's affected our decisions too. But now we've had an AD from the outside who not making decisions based on people around him, who's saying, no, I'm going to go get the guy who's going to elevate us to a level outside of even what people around me is thinking, which is FCS good, right? And we made a decision that was outside of what we normally would have made the last 10 years. And now we're going to get back to the position. So coaching is the thing for me that is the huge difference between NCCU and what we've experienced.
You mentioned something just then that I agree with, but it's very rare in the 5 years I've been watching that HBCUs go out and hire proven coaches
They don't do it
to be
often.
the head of your program.
Yeah, none of us do
They
that.
don't do it. But listen, this is the
don't
thing.
do it.
If you look at history, this is the reason why Tremaine Jackson was on my thing. I know we just switched to a different thing, right? This is the reason he was on my radar before he got hired. I went back and I started looking to say, man, what's the matrix? We got matrix for hiring all over the place, right? Everybody got a matrix. But why we ain't got no matrix for HBCU football? When you go look back over the years, man, what's been successful? A lot of them, where Pete Richardson come from before he went to Southern. You see what I'm saying?
I think Winston-Salem State, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, my point is, if you go look at a lot of these guys, even our last coaches, we talk about Nix, we talk about, you know, St. Frazier, these are D2 guys who show and prove themselves and they built up. So I'm like, listen, I don't care. Nobody talking about D2 is always on my radar. Because if you show you can do it with less resources, less scholarships, right? You got to build a program. That's the same thing when you look at other places, these other schools, they take a guy who was at Youngstown State, and then he goes to Miami, Ohio, and then he gets a chance at like a Florida. They looking at these coaches that's built up. The guy who went from Washington and now in Alabama.
That's the thing, though, Lionel.
We need to do the same, get proven coaches.
But let me break in on you, Lionel. That's the thing. And Rocky hadn't been here long enough to see this, but we've had FBS coaches come the other direction. They're not used to working with less resources.
That's what I'm saying.
They come to SWAC and it just doesn't go well. And, you know, because we played opponents that they get these FBS coaches, they're excited. And then Prairie View goes up there and beat them with a head coach that just moved up the head coach that was an assistant coach because, you know, you got to, you know, I ain't saying you have to get a D2 coach, but they've come into the SWAC and done better because the FBS coaches are used to having everything they needed right at the fingertips.
Yeah. Again, like I say, I look, you got to understand when I look at this as a football fan. I'm learning about the struggles and the processes that HBCUs have to go through in order to get their mission statements done, right? I'm really learning about that. In other brands of football, their mission statements don't really hinder how they perform on the field usually, or they don't talk about if they do have those challenges, they don't use them or they don't speak about them openly the way that people in the HBCU space usually does, right? So that's why sometimes, like, as a football fan, we get to talking about X's and O's and fan participation and home and away advantage and things like that. And we try to evaluate it like we are looking at other brands of football. And obviously at an HBCU, the whole system is somewhat different than it is at an FCS school that's not an HBCU or a Power 5 or Group of 5 school that's not an HBCU. Well, there's no Group of 5 schools at HBCU.
Yeah, no.
So sometimes we are myopic as a football fans, and we think about it just one way. You know what I mean? We think about it one way. And that's one thing I've had to adjust my thinking is that there are things that happen Monday through Friday that affect what happens on the field.
For sure.
From situations where kids don't have adequate services during the week so that they can be healthy and nourished and all those kind of things. So, man, like I say, this has been a wonderful experience for me, man. Like I say, my daughter actually chose to go to Prairie View her junior year. So we were coming this way whether Dion was coming or not. It's just when Dion came, it made I'm being honest with you, man. It turned my interest up tremendously, man. And so when I come here, I just experience the people, and I get to share in these experiences that my friends have been having for 30 years that they never told me about. You know what I mean? And so, but again, because again, you got to realize in the first weekend of November, there's some tremendous games on TV that are happening that in the general public's mind that are far more important than a Prairie View homecoming or something like that in the general public's mindset. But if people just knew about what is happening at those HBCU homecomings and the cultural experience that's
Mhm.
happening and what a high quality experience it is. It's not a ratchet, ghetto, dangerous situation.
Mhm.
It is a high quality, well-funded operation that you guys have. Because I went in back-to-back weeks. I went to Southern one week, and the next week I went to Prairie View. All y'all got plenty of money. Y'all got ain't nobody lacking no money. You hear me?
Black people really do be having money out here. Don't let these
I
folks
say,
lie to
like-
you.
like-
Don't
like-
let these
like-
folks.
Like
Black people.
at Southern, you should have seen these RVs look like tour buses. You hear me? And I'm like, you know,
Wait a minute, Rocky. We've seen them because they bring those RVs to Prairie View.
you know, they let you know that they didn't rent them for the weekend because they done stenciled their
that's
name
fair.
on it, and they got Southern decals all on them. So they let you know these ain't rentals. These belong to us. And then, hey, I'm gonna tell you the thing that impressed me, bro. They got so many golf. It was a traffic jam on campus just with golf carts, bro. Like what? I mean, it was golf carts everywhere, man. Like I say, man. Now, one thing I could say, it was a walking situation at Prairie View. You could walk all over. But they were riding at Southern. They were riding in style. Their golf carts had rims and speakers and music all in it. Some of them had TVs in the headrest. I'm talking, you had
dope.
all, hey, man.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, I mean, they were
That's
doing
dope.
it. Anybody who ever been there, and I was wondering, I was like, is this only for homecoming they do this? Supposedly, because I haven't been there other than homecoming. They were like, we do this all the time here. And I'm like, okay, you know, if that's the story y'all sticking to, whatever.
It'd be
then,
interesting. It'd be interesting seeing that on a golf course. You know what I'm saying? That's a different 18 round of golf right there.
yeah.
I know with the speakers.
Hey, I don't think you can bring those rims and that music on the golf course, bro.
That's what I said. That's a different round of golf if you got them on the golf
Yeah,
course.
man. Hey, man. But I really enjoyed being on here, Lionel, man. I just logged on YouTube and I saw a handsome bald guy that kind of looked like me on the thumbnail. I was like,
It was you. This is why, because it was bait because I was like, Rocky is gonna get drawn to this bait. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but man, hey, listen, we appreciate you for jumping on, man. Obviously, appreciate you in the space as well. You know, because at the end of the day, man, we believe that HBCUs right is important for all Black people all the way out there, even those who didn't get that experience, right? Because it affects a lot of people, right? I'm obviously love that your daughter's on Prairie View, right? But again, right, like I say, with the academic side, right, man, we support all HBCUs, right? Wherever you go, it's all love and all support. It's just on the field that is different.
And like I say, Lionel, you are truly an HBCU supporter because I tried to, when you were on my show, I tried to bait you into, I wanted you to say that Prairie View has the best quality education of all HBCUs, and you didn't take the bait. You were like,
oh, really? I didn't even know you were trying to bait me into that.
Yeah,
I ain't even know. Yeah.
I think I asked you a question, something like, with Howard saying they're the best and Hampton and all these other schools, what does Prairie View ranking that? And you was like, oh, they're all good, man.
I mean, because listen, when I'm talking to different people, depending on what they're looking for, depending on programs, I will always tell them like, hey man, look at this specific HBCU, look at this specific HBCU for this or for that, right? So I have no problem, right? Because at the end of the day, the academic and the life side of things is way bigger than the arguments that we be having every day about football and basketball and stuff, right? Like that, they're way bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, to me, it's like cousins. That's how I see it. Right, it's like we all cousins at the end of the day. So when people outside of us talk about us, it's like, oh no, don't talk about my cousin now. But now when they gone, I may be having the same conversation with you about what they're talking to you about, right? You know,
I have these conversations often about however they do it, whatever, because I don't know what secret sauce they use over at HBCUs, but it puts those young men and young women on a trajectory of success that other people, frankly, don't experience. And for whatever reason, that's just what it is. And I'm just glad and fortunate that my daughter got accepted and she was able to attend. She's able to attend Prairie View, and she'll be graduating this spring. So
hey, let's go.
That's the part that counts right there.
Big alum. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, man, I really appreciate all y'all for jumping on, man. Hey, listen, we gonna have to roll out of here because y'all got me out here super late. Like, this is not the norm for me, okay?
Hey, man, they had me out here last night, too.
Man, hey, listen, I listened to
Oh,
that was a
yeah,
good
yeah, he was
episode though.
great.
Y'all gave me some good content
That was
for
a
today.
good episode.
So we
Yeah,
talked a lot about that today. You know what I'm saying? So again, we appreciate all of y'all for coming and jumping on. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Thank you, Kelly Flicks as well.